Hi, it's Jim Hamilton. I'm Group Director with InfoTrends here in our production area, and I'm surrounded in my office by samples from Graph Expo. What I thought I'd do today is talk a little bit about them as they impact trends that we saw at the show. Now, I know that video is not necessarily the most ideal method to show print samples, so I invite you to come to Weymouth and visit me at some point and have a look at these in person. But for right now, let's start with one of the key trends that we saw, which was formats larger than 12 by 18. Typically, digital print is an A3 format, maybe around 12 by 18 size, a little bit larger, a little bit smaller. But what we saw at the show were some announcements of larger formats. And this is an example from Kodak of Next Press going out to 26 inches in the SX platform that they announced and which will be available next year. So that's around a 14 by 26 inch format. And interestingly enough, around the very same time, Xerox made an announcement about its iGen 4 EXP product, which also extends the format size beyond what we typically see. So this is about 14 1/3, again by 26 inches or so, to do large format applications such as that. And also at the show we saw an inkjet product, which is going all the way to B2 format. So this is a sheet off of Fujifilm's J-Press. Again, this is an inkjet product. Seen some other ones like this at IPEX. Fujifilm has one, so does Screen, their SX product. Both of these are just coming out now, but looking at larger formats than typically have been available in toner-based devices, an inkjet may allow to go to larger sheet sizes. Another trend that was really important at the show was the development around the use of chemical toners. So typically the color toner-based products in the digital print marketplace have used crush toners. And that means, consuming a lot of energy that you might use to crush those toners to create the toner that is then sent through the device and diffuser oil infusing and all of that kind of stuff. Chemical toners have some interesting advantages in that you create them, you make them, you can make the toner particle size very uniform, you can include in that concoction some other component that can replace the use of diffuser oil, so you tend to see more of a matte looking output from some of these devices, but that's not necessarily always the case. This is an example from the Xerox 550-560, which was announced at Graph Expo and joins other chemical toner-based products in the Xerox product line, so the 700 and the 800 and 1000. An interesting development from Ricoh was the announcement of their C901, their graphic arts edition, which in contrast to the C900, which uses conventional crushed toners, uses chemical toners, and so they've swapped in the fusing unit out of it, and the C900, the existing product, and the C901 will use different kinds of toners. Again, very interesting development in the marketplace, because prior to some announcements by Konica Minolta a few years back with their 50 and 65 pages per minute, all of the color toner-based products were using crushed toners. So this is an example from Konica Minolta from their new C8000 and that product series, which now includes the 6000 and 7000, also is based on chemical toners. Now, another trend, digital print typically has been just the 4 process colors, so cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. We're seeing more and more the addition of other effects beyond CMYK. I have an example here from HP Indigo, which can go all the way up to 7 color in some of its devices. Here is an example where they're working with their partner Scodix to add a clear coating to certain areas of the sample. And again, probably hard to see on video, but an interesting new development from the show. Here's an example from Kodak Next Press of a security application where they've got an ink that is a toner that is visible really only under certain lighting conditions. So for checking to see that this ticket is the official one and not some kind of forgery, that's an interesting application. And of course, there are other ways that that fifth station in the Next Press can be used. The Xerox the Xerox 800-1000, which I mentioned before, has a 5th color station where you can do a clear coating. And here it's used, and again, probably hard to see on video, but what is more like a watermark on this image, which reflects the Fujifilm logo from here. And again, Fujifilm being a distribution partner of Xerox, and had that device that they were using at the show. And here's a large sample. So this is the jet varnish by MGI, and this product includes the ability to inkjet a clear coating, basically, on certain areas of the print piece. And so we've got here watches that are highlighted, the woman's jewelry, all of those kinds of pieces that pick up on that. Now that's an offline process. Some of these others are done inline with the device. Okay, moving on to inkjet on coated papers. The class of inkjet devices that we've seen, typically high-speed continuous feed, have for the most part been doing transaction and direct mail applications that are done on uncoated stocks. And the move towards coated stocks opens up new applications, particularly around books, publications, catalogs, those kinds of things that typically do use coated papers. And it's very important that those papers become available, that the inkjet devices can print on them, and that they're affordable as well. So here's an example from screen, the TruePress Jet 520. It is printed on a Mitsubishi paper mill stock. Again, a coated paper here. Got an example here from Kodak with the Prosper 5000 XL system. Again, this one on an 80-pound gloss-coated stock. Fujifilm showing some capabilities on that J-Press that we talked about before. Through a pre-coating process, they're able to do a coated stock here. And an interesting example here from HP, which shows 3 samples, basically an uncoated offset stock, a matte coated stock, and then the same image, of course, on a glossy media stock. And the technical challenges with printing higher coverage output on some of these coated stocks is a significant one. But I think what's more significant really is that these products become capable of printing on papers that are affordable. Because again, what good is a coated stock here if it costs 3 times what you're used to paying with traditional processes? And so the last thing that I wanted to pick up on was a little bit around envelopes. And the really at 2 ends of the spectrum here, we have Pitney Bowes, which showed a mail insertion system that was taking roll-fed input, pulling multiple components together, making sure that each of the pieces were matched to the other, because again you had offers and a letter, and they were inserted into an envelope which was then printed with personalized information, name, logo, whatever, that was related to the information within the envelope. It's a very sophisticated, high-end system. And what I found particularly fascinating was that as the envelope went through the feeder, the height of the inkjet device was raised or lowered based on the thickness of the envelope, and that was because the system knew that this had 2 pages, 4 pages, 6 pages, 8 pages, or whatever in it. Fascinating development. Again, a very significant, sophisticated system costing many, significant dollars. On the other side of the spectrum, we have Riso showing some of its ComColor products with a new feeder from Kirk Rudy that allows you to print an envelope with whatever information you want on it, logo or personalized message. And one of the advantages that some of the inkjet devices have over the toner-based one is in the printing of window envelopes like this one. And so this window envelope is something that's difficult to print on some of the toner-based devices because you're sending this envelope through a fuser, and the fuser may have some impact on this windowed envelope. So the inkjet devices, and particularly the Riso ComColor as they were showing it here, has an interesting advantage over some of the toner devices for this. I do also want to point out one other thing that I forgot when I was talking about the larger format, and I don't have a sample for that specifically here, but it's the Prestec 75 DI, which again is in that more B2 format size, can fit a 6-up letter format job. And so though I don't have a sample here, that does fit into that move towards some of the larger format. Typically with their common impression cylinder DI devices, they had been at more of a 2-up size format. So a key development there. And finally, that's just a quick review of some samples that my team and I collected at Graph Expo. If you do have an interesting sample and you'd like to share it with me, I encourage you to send it to me here in our office in Weymouth. You can find our address in on the InfoTrends website, so www.infotrends.com. And again, I'd like to open up that invitation to anybody who'd like to come to the office and see some of these in person, where you really can see the effects a little bit better than you can see them on video.